Yangwu Marquis, the story goes, was Zulu, a native of Zujia Island in Jiaodong. His father, Xue Gonglu, was extremely poor and worked as a cowherd for a local official's family. This family had a piece of wasteland where Xue Gonglu grazed cattle. He often saw snakes and rabbits fighting in the grass, believing it to be an extraordinary feng shui treasure. He then asked the landowner for permission to use it as a burial site and build a thatched hut to live in. A few years later, Xue Gonglu's wife went into labor during a sudden downpour. Coincidentally, the commanders were inspecting the sea route and sought shelter from the rain in Xue's house. They saw crows and magpies gathered on the roof, using their wings to cover the leaking spots, finding it peculiar. After a while, Xue Gonglu came out and told them about his wife's childbirth. When asked about the child's gender, he replied, "It's a boy." The commanders were even more astonished and said, "This child will undoubtedly become very prominent in the future. Otherwise, how could both of us commanders be assigned to guard your doorway?" They praised and laughed. Xue, who had grown up, but his face was dirty, with mucus hanging from his nose, and he seemed unintelligent. The Xue family on the island originally had a military background. In that year, Xue Gonglu's family was supposed to send a member to serve in Liaozhai, but Xue Gonglu's eldest son was worried about it. At the time, Xue was 18 years old, and people thought he was too foolish, so no one proposed marriage to him. Suddenly, he said to his elder brother, "Big brother, you've been muttering to yourself. Could it be because you're worried that our family won't have anyone to join the military?" His brother replied, "Yes." Xue chuckled and said, "If you're willing to give me the maid as a wife, I'll join the service." His elder brother was delighted and betrothed the maid to him. Xue immediately brought his wife and set off for Liaozhai. After traveling a few dozen miles, a sudden heavy rain started falling. They sought refuge under a towering cliff by the roadside. After a while, the rain stopped, and they continued their journey. Just a few steps away, the cliff collapsed. People from nearby villages saw two tigers leap out from under the collapsed cliff and approach the couple before disappearing. From then on, Xue became courageous and extraordinary, standing out from the rest. Later, due to his military achievements, he was ennobled by the court as the hereditary title of Yangwu Marquis. During the Tianqi and Chongzhen reigns, the current holder of the hereditary Yangwu Marquis title from the Xue family passed away without a son, only leaving a posthumous child. Therefore, a collateral branch temporarily took over. At that time, any nobleman inheriting a title who took concubines was required to report pregnancies to the court. The government would then send an elderly woman to accompany and monitor her until the child was born. A year later, the lady of the Xue family gave birth to a girl. After childbirth, her belly continued to move. 15 years went by, and several accompanying elderly women had been replaced, and she finally gave birth to a boy. Normally, the legitimate branch would have been granted the title of Marquis, but the collateral branch protested, claiming the child wasn't of pure Xue blood. The government detained the original accompanying women and subjected them to various methods of interrogation. They all admitted that the child was undoubtedly a true descendant of the Xue family. Only then did they decide to bestow the title on him.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.